Let's unlock the power of content calendars. Our deep dive today takes that lecture you sent and turns it into action. I'm a bit of a planning geek, but even I was surprised by what we found in this material.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
talking about how planning content goes way back, like even before the internet. And a well-structured calendar does way more than just, keep you organized.
It's really interesting to see that, how it's evolved. We've gone from those old school editorial calendars like newspapers use to these dynamic systems today's digital world needs. And you're right, a content calendar is so much more strategic than just scheduling. It's like the backbone of your content operation.
Exactly. And speaking of strategy, one thing from the lecture really stuck with me, consistent publishing. He mean a 67% increase in potential customers.
Wow.
I mean, think about that. It's not just about being tidy. We're talking real impact. So for someone new to this, what's the one big change they should make based on that number alone?
That's a good question. It shows how important content calendars are. Imagine instead of random posting whenever you feel like it, you commit to a regular schedule, maybe 2 blog posts a week, or a daily social media update.
Right.
That consistency alone, even without the specifics of what you're posting, it tells your audience and those algorithms something. It's like showing up for a run every day. Results might take time, but that effect builds up.
Perfect analogy. It's trust, expertise, staying top of mind. And that connects to another key point, aligning your content with your business goals. Seems obvious, but it's easy to get lost in just creating content and lose sight of the bigger picture.
Totally. And a content calendar. It's your weapon in that fight. Let's say you're launching a new product. Instead of, scrambling last minute, a good calendar lets you map everything out. Blog posts, teasers, emails, they all work together, build excitement, and hopefully sales.
So it's like an orchestra, each instrument at the right time.
Exactly. You get a symphony, not just noise.
Much more elegant than how I'd put it. So we've got consistency, strategic alignment. What else makes these calendars so game-changing? The lecture really emphasized collaboration, which I get. Teamwork makes the dream work. But how does that actually play out when creating content?
It's that shared space, that hub. Everyone, writers, designers, social media, even clients, see what's happening, when, and why.
So no more frantic emails, missed deadlines.
Ideally, no. Someone logs in, sees their task for the week, deadline, any briefs. It's all right there. They can even comment, ask questions, write in the calendar, keeps everyone in the loop, less chance of mistakes.
Who doesn't love fewer mistakes? Speaking of which, let's talk about incorporating seasonal content, something the lecture touched on. I think we can all relate.
Absolutely. Understanding your audience is key here. Customer behavior, it goes up and down with the seasons, just like, the ocean.
It does. No one's looking for pumpkin spice lattes in July. Well, most people.
Exactly. A swimwear brand launching a winter collection in summer will probably miss the mark. But if you plan ahead, you think about those seasonal trends, holidays, you create content that feels relevant at the right time.
Riding the wave of interest, not getting crushed by it. All right, loving the analogies, but let's get to the juicy stuff. The interesting facts and controversies from the lecture. One thing that stood out, the rise of video content. Like, video killed the radio star, but then it took over the world.
It's true, video is everywhere, and it's only getting bigger.
Okay, I gotta ask, why is video such a big deal?
Well, in a world overloaded with information, video is immediate, engaging. It connects emotionally in a way text and images can't. That's why platforms like TikTok, Instagram Reels, they've exploded. Businesses need video in their strategy.
Like trying to order coffee without saying coffee? It's just not gonna work. But this explosion of video, it plays into a bigger thing the lecture talks about. Content saturation. And this is where it gets really interesting. It's like we're drowning in content. How does a content calendar even help us deal with that? Is it even enough?
That's the big question, isn't it? Content saturation, it's a double-edged sword. We've got all these ways to connect, to experience things, but it's so noisy. Think about it, your social media, your inbox. How much are you bombarded with every day?
Oh, it's overwhelming. Sometimes I just want to chuck my phone and go live in the woods.
I think we've all been there. And that's exactly why a content calendar, while important, isn't a magic solution. It's not about just churning out more content. It's got to be strategic, targeted, focused on quality.
Working smarter, not harder. Right. But how do we actually do that? How do you cut through all that noise when everyone's shouting?
Well, the lecture mentioned a few things. First, niching down. That's key. Don't try to be everything to everyone. Focus on a specific audience. Become the expert in that area.
Like that saying, if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one.
Exactly. Second, quality over quantity, always. When everything's just okay, well-crafted, insightful content, that's what stands out.
It's got to be so good. People have to share, like, stop what you're doing. You got to see this.
I love that. And finally, data. Data is your friend. Understand your audience, what they're into, how they consume things. Then you tailor your strategy.
So no more just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks. We've got to be more like scientists, analyzing, refining our approach.
Now you're getting it. A content calendar, it keeps you organized, consistent, but it's that mix of strategy, quality, and data that really makes a difference in this content-saturated world.
Okay, so we know a content calendar is powerful, but we got to use it right. The lecture gives some practical advice on that. One point that stood out, utilize technology. They mentioned some tools, Trello, Asana, CoSchedule, Airtable. What do you think? What's a big benefit of using digital tools like that for this?
For me, it's all about streamlining things, making collaboration easier. These tools, they take the headache out of managing complex projects, especially with a team.
So no more emailing spreadsheets back and forth, hoping everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. Imagine everyone working from the same place, tasks assigned clearly, deadlines tracked automatically, feedbacks captured. That's the power of these digital tools.
It's like having your own personal assistant for content.
A lot of them even have automation, scheduling social media, reports, even finding trending topics. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Efficiency wins. This has been eye-opening, really. So to sum up for our listeners, the key takeaway is that a content calendar, it's more than just a schedule. It's a strategic tool to succeed in this content-heavy world we're in.
Absolutely. Planning, collaborating, staying relevant, and ultimately being heard.
Now, the lecture was mostly about business, but I gotta say, it got me thinking. Could a content calendar work for other parts of life? Where being consistent matters, like personal projects or even relationships.
That's an interesting thought, and I think you might be onto something there.
Right. Think about it. You're working on something big, like writing a book or training for a marathon. Easy to get off track, lose steam. What if you planned it like a business with its content?
It's breaking down those big goals into smaller steps. Right. Then you schedule them in, like you said, a blog post, a social media update.
Exactly. And you focus on those smaller wins along the way, not just the finish line. Keeps you going.
I love that. And remember the collaboration part. Even if it's personal, having someone to check in with, give you feedback, that makes a difference.
It's like your own support system, keeping you on track. And, thinking about these content calendar ideas for life, it really highlights what we've been talking about. It's not just about the tools themselves.
Yeah.
It's the mindset.
Absolutely. It's being intentional with your time, your energy, setting goals, having systems that help you however you define success.
So whether you're a business, a creative person, or just someone wanting more structure, these principles are powerful stuff. This has been great, really eye-opening.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you got some great takeaways. Until next time, happy planet.